I'm Captain Thaddeus Fender, and this is the Overview Room. With CDS direction and because of operations overseas, the Canadian Combined Aerospace Operations Centre, or CAOC, was formed. The Coalition CAOC weapon system concept was studied and analyzed and adapted for Canadian needs. This allows us to meet the varying requirements for both international and domestic operations. You know, a lot of people tend to think of the CAOC as just the Ops Center, but there's a lot more to it than that. There's the Strat Div, Combat Plans, and Combat Ops, and they're all supported by ISRD, mission support, standards and training, and a network of A staff from coast to coast to coast. This structure provides a framework for centralized C2 and decentralized execution using the Canadian Forces Air Tasking Cycle, which we call the NAP. The NAP provides a process for the Air Force to translate higher authority strategic guidance into detailed plans and tasks. Now let's take a closer look at the NAP. We've got plan, task, execute, and assess. So how is higher authority strategic guidance turned into action? Well, it all starts here, at the Strat Div. This is where direction and guidance from higher headquarters is translated into orders and directives. The Strat Div performs the plan function of the NAP. The Strat Div produces a yearly AOD for the Chief of the Air Staff, which the JFAC uses to provide his own strategic guidance in the form of the quarterly JOP and the monthly AOD. All these products receive information from a database called the Request for Effect. Simply put, the RFE is a database that supported commanders use to tell the CAOC what they want to do and when they want to do it, but not how to do it. That's the CAOC's job. Each of these products has their own specific purpose, but each one adds more detail to and updates the next. So when you get to the monthly AOD, it gives the JFAC an opportunity to update his priorities and check on the expected allocation of aerospace resources. But the big three aren't the only products that the Strat Div produces. They produce many other orders, such as the Classic Op Order, which is done using the OPP. So now that we have all these orders, what do we do with them? Well, the monthly AOD and any other orders that are written get moved over to Combat Plans, ending the plan phase and starting the task phase. With the Strat Div deliverables, the JFAC's direction is now provided to Combat Plans. Using these products and the supported commander's RFEs, Combat Plans is able to produce a comprehensive weekly map. The map enables the JFAC to get the latest and greatest information on how Combat Plans intends to employ his resources. It also gives the JFAC the opportunity to update his direction and authorize the production and release of the National ATO. The National ATO, which includes the ACO and spins, gives the order for airplanes to fly. The National ATO is usually released on a Thursday for the following Monday to Sunday, allowing time for revision. It's at this point that the Combat Plans task phase ends and the Combat Ops execute phase begins. Once the validity period begins for the National ATO, the Combat Ops team swings into action, and they are supported by other divisions and support teams as required. The staff here monitor every flight tasked in the ATO, every flight on every wing, when it takes off, when it lands, if it's delayed. They are the eyes and the ears of the JFAC. And they do this using a variety of technologies. Everything from secure telephones, live chat, radar, data link, to receiving MISREPs on secure networks, to monitoring and reporting flights live on the COP. This information flows into the Ops Center from the field, and with it they keep the National ATO up to date. If needed for a specific operation, Combat Ops, in conjunction with deployed staff as required, is able to manage a more intensive daily ATO cycle. This allows for greater flexibility in the deployment of resources for that specific operation. For any given ATO, the execute phase concludes at the end of the validity period, because the Combat Ops focus then shifts to the next one. What I've been describing up until now in the NAP has kind of had the feel of a production line, where you've got the yearly AOD, which is approved by the Chief of the Air Staff, and with it, the JFAC provides strategic guidance for the production of the quarterly JOP and the monthly AOD, and any other orders as required. This in turn leads to the weekly map, and then the National ATO, which includes ACOs and spins. So as with any production line, there needs to be an element of quality control, and that's where the assessment team comes in. A critical function in the NAP is performed by the assess team, who are members of the Strat Div. The JFAC needs to know how the plan is progressing and if certain milestones have been met. This enables him to make decisions and provide appropriate guidance as required. Members of the assess team can routinely liaise with every division within the CAOC. They attend as many CAOC briefings as possible in order to better understand the overall plan and how things are going. In short, the assess team looks at doing things right. Did we adhere to our plan? Are we doing what we trained to do? And are we following SOPs? They're also looking at doing the right thing. Is the plan working? Are we achieving the desired effects? And are the effects we planned for meeting with results? The assess aspect of the NAP has two key elements, analyze and assessment. Here is ISRD. They gather information in the form of MISREPs and SITREPs. This information is analyzed and processed into intelligence, and assessed and processed into various operational reports. Using these reports and many others, the assess team is able to maintain a high degree of awareness throughout the plan, task, and execute phases, enabling them to provide constant feedback in an effort to improve the plan. Even at the end of the execute phase, the assess role continues with the lessons learned function. Major learning points which become verifiable change eventually become lessons learned, and they are used to improve the next operation. So why is the assess team part of the strat div? Well, you've got to learn from the past before you can plan for the future. While this is an ongoing linear process, one after the other, you've got to remember that there are multiple operations and concurrent daily activity. The National Aerospace Planning process, employed by the Canadian CAOC, under direction of the JFAC, allows us to have centralized command and control and decentralized execution. Using well-established doctrinal principles, the Canadian CAOC continues to evolve its processes and technologies in order to better use its limited resources both domestically and in international operations. Now don't forget, like I said at the beginning, our CAOC is based off of other coalition CAOCs, so working here will better prepare you for working abroad. Operation Coldface, a deployed domestic operation exercising our national sovereignty. It's going to be our case study for the NAP. As you work through it, try and remember the steps and processes you've seen here. And much like the assessment team is both the beginning and the end of every operation, we'll be back here for assess. I'm Captain Thaddeus Fender, and this is the Overview Room.